But see, obviously when we had that time against Rangers when we beat them in the playoffs, what was the preparation going through? Like, because I remember, like, obviously we had such a good home form for some reason, and then it was just away we kept dropping silly points. But what was the preparation for the playoffs like?
Like I was fortunate, and me and Piero especially. You look at Piero's shirt there, but we had come in the March time, so we were quite immune and numb to everything that had gone on in that season. So we were quite fresh, and things had started to turn, and we were winning more games than we were drawing or losing when we had managed to come in, and we changed the tide. So from a mindset, the mindset was so positive, even though we couldn't get ourselves enough out of trouble to not obviously get in that playoff. That was disappointing. That was a tough part, because I remember the 2-3 weeks leading into that period, I was staying with Steve McManus at the time, and there wasn't a night that we wouldn't sit there and have a cup of tea going, do you think we're going to get out of this or what? Like, this could go anyway. I reckon we'll get Rangers. We'll get Rangers in the playoff. You watch, we're just talking about it every night. It was just destined to happen, with all the ex-Celtic players being at Motherwell as well. And then obviously Stuart McCall being at Rangers, it was almost meant to happen, wasn't it? It was always going to be on the cards. But I remember being, obviously, the game, we played Partick Thistle last game of the season.
2-0, yeah.
And, and Ian changed the team completely because he wanted to make sure everyone was fresh for the midweek game against Rangers. And there was a lot of confidence within our squad, because we looked at Rangers and they weren't playing that well. Let's be real. No. They finished, I think, fourth. They finished third, did they?
Yeah. So they had to play the two...
they had to play Queen of the South, and then they played Hibs, didn't they? And they beat Hibs. So we knew that they were still a little bit fragile, and we had the more experience within the squad.
Yeah.
You look at like Stephen Hamill, Keith Lasley, Piero, myself, Mick, and we all had good legs still, and we were very experienced, good footballers. And we've been to Ibrox time and again, and being in pressure situations. Okay, this one was bigger than any, I would say. And I think for me as well, there's always a recovery from when you go and play, for Celtic at Ibrox and you lose. You always get another day. Whereas going there with Motherwell, you knew like it was everything, or nothing.
Life or death.
Yeah, correct. And it was more than, I think all we could think about as individuals, and it wasn't necessarily about us as players.
Mm-hmm.
All our minds were on was the people that worked at the football club and the fans. But I think because the people at the football club are the people that you spend the most time with, and you're always around them. And I'd known them a lot through my period the first time round, and everyone's jobs were on the line. And you know how much the club means to these people. So having all that on you was quite a surreal experience and a pressurized one. But again, we were lucky because we had players that had dealt with pressures before, the senior ones, to help obviously the younger ones as well be a lot calmer in the situation. And we had some good players. Lee Irwin was fantastic when I come in. Really turned the corner.
Another big guy you played in Ramsey's?
Yeah, exactly. And I enjoyed playing with him, and I think and like to think that I helped him a lot during that period, because I think he'd only scored one goal in the season until
and that was the opening together a lot.
Yeah. I mean, because when I first come, I thought I'd play with Big Sutty. You know what I mean? Sutty would play. Sutty was the best foil for me, and Sutty's a goal scorer.
Sutty's brilliant,
But in the end, like, we needed legs. We needed someone who was going to go and run the channels, and I didn't really do that as much anymore. I hadn't played up front, to be honest with you. I hadn't played up front for almost 18 months before coming back to Motherwell. I was playing centre.
When you played,
I was playing centre mid.
Didn't you play like centre mid, centre attacking mid, that sort of role?
Yeah, I was playing as a number 8. So I'd come back to Motherwell and restarted again and playing as a centre forward. And not that you had to learn it again, but it takes you. You need to get up to speed quick, but you need to be clever and intelligent. And running the channels at that point, I was definitely not going to be doing that. So when Lee come in, and managed to do it unbelievable. I was actually really disappointed, but you can't turn a club like Leeds down, I suppose. Well, probably when they were offering that money, but I just felt for his development at the time, or wished that he had stayed at Motherwell and played another season with the likes of me and the senior players that were there. And I think that it would have improved him as a player, and I still think he would have got a great move thereafter it. But at the end of the day, players make their decisions and they move on, and you can't blame him for taking it at that point. But no, again, the squad that we looked at, and when we had Marvin Johnson and Lionel Ainsworth, you're like, oh my God. And I really thought, for me, when I come back, I was like, these two guys are absolute whippets, right? They can run like the wind. Just give it to them, and just like you were at Celtic,
let them carry it.
Just let them carry, and you get in the danger areas. And they were fantastic that back end of the season, and were great in the two legs against Rangers, and absolutely destroyed, Rangers at Ibrox with their pace. And that was something that we'd worked on. But I think Ian Barracott was talking about it recently, wasn't he? And said that we had changed training grounds. We weren't at DL. We ended up going down to the golf club and using their facility. What's the golf club called down the road? DL.
I'm not entirely sure. I don't actually live in Motherwell or anywhere around that area.
Oh, yeah, I know you don't. Yeah, so
I actually live in Cooper. If you've heard of that place,
I know where Cooper is. I know exactly where Cooper is. My actually, we've got relatives that live in Cooper, mate. So there you go. Not me personally. My wife does. One of the dentists in there. She's the head dentist. She's a head dentist. So stopped there a couple of times on my way through to St Andrew's training ground, mate, for a cup of coffee. Beautiful spot. But getting back to our training, so we stop talking about Cooper for a minute. We ended up having the week in a different sort of place, because Ian wanted a different mindset and somewhere different for eyes and whatever else, which was a great idea, actually. It freshened everything up.
Oh yeah.
Training in a different conditions can do that sometimes. So it was a great idea, and it was enjoyable. We try to keep it as relaxed and enjoyable as possible moving into that first game. And we knew our best team. So by that point, there was no more shuffling. We'd played 3 months of good football together. We'd got a lot more positive results than negative ones. And we knew, if we could just frustrate Rangers in the first leg, keep it tight, that we were always going to get a chance. I never thought in a million years we'd be 3-0 up after 46 minutes. Looking at the scoreboard going, I've never been 3-0 up here for Celtic. This is unbelievable. And then just when you think the second leg's going to be a lot easier, McGregor pops up with a header right just before the end of the game, and that sort of struck a nerve with us. And it's probably a good thing, actually. And I think for all Motherwell fans, it's sort of like, right, we'll enjoy this moment, but it's not over yet, because we know if Rangers get that first goal at Fir Park, then it's going to be game on again, isn't it? And then we'll see what our nerves are really made of. So I think for us, especially, I remember talking to Steve McManus about it. Obviously, like I said, because I was living with him at the time, I was like, fuck, we need to score the first goal here. Like, we need to get this first goal. I said, because if we don't score that first goal, I don't know how some of the players are going to react, and can they deal with that, pressure, and then Rangers pushing on it, as that's going to be hard to stop. So, but we played a perfect game that day, and we were very disciplined. And then obviously a little bit of strike, a little bit of luck with the first goal, and
a wee bit of luck.
Yeah. Well, you can see after that how much it relaxes everything, and people start to free up and play the game again, and then the floodgates open, and they believe, obviously, to get the games done as well. So it was proved right. We needed to score first and just shut them out.
Yeah,
and
I'll tell you a wee story about that game. It may have been the most nervous I've ever been for 90 minutes of football in my life. But as a 15, 16-year-old, I was sitting in the front row. A lot of people on my channel will be aware of this story. And I knew I was going to be on telly at one point, just in the background of when the ball was going past or whatever. And Stevie Hamill is on the bad end of a bad challenge from Andy Murdoch. and Craig Thompson is right in front of me talking to Andy Murdoch, and before he brandishes a yellow card, I pull out my pocket of my jacket, a red card. I'm like, send him off, ref. And that got like so many tweets on Twitter, and it was going, it basically broke Scottish football Twitter.
Were you on BT Sport, like brandishing the red card, were you?
Yeah, like it was just in the background, and I think whoever was commentating.
It would have been Derek Ray. Is it not the geezer?
Yeah, Derek Ray, that's it.
Yeah.
And Derek Ray made a passing comment on like the fans getting really into the game or whatever, and it was just me brandishing a red card and going like, send them off, ref. And I got quite a few death threats from Rangers fans, but that was quite fun.
Oh, did you? But you got your famous moment then?
One of many.
Yeah. No, well, there was quite a few incidents in that day, wasn't there?
Oh, that was the craziest game I've ever watched.
Yeah, there was a lot more that went on as well that you guys don't know down the tunnel afterwards. But that's for another day.
Is that for another day?
Yeah, I can't brandish those types of things, even on a podcast. I can't do it. But,
that's fine. I'll hassle you about it.
But it was quite fiery, even after the game, with everything that happened on the pitch. Fell off, you know, into the change rooms and everywhere else. But it was again, I don't even think I was delighted, but it was just more a relief at the end of the game that. For me, at that point, I hadn't really thought about coming back to Motherwell. I was sort of like, right, well, that's job done.
Job done.
Ticked. Come back.
Save the day.
Got asked to come back. Loved it. Done what I had to do. Walk off into the sunset like John Wayne. That's you done, right? Thanks, everyone. Be forgotten. I'll be remembered as a good guy. And as things happened, and my wife was pregnant at the time as well with our third child, and how much I enjoyed my time coming back and living in Scotland again as well. I just knew it was right to come back. It was like coming home, you know. I loved coming back to Scotland and living there, and being at a club like Motherwell. I really seen it as a homecoming, realistically. But it was nice at that point, without thinking that way that I was going to come back, that everyone's jobs are saved. The club can rebuild under Ian, new squads. All my mates that were there previous, they're going to be good for a while as well. And the club as well. The club itself was going to be, given another opportunity to go and, kick on again.
Yeah.
Because if, you look at what would have happened possibly if we had got relegated that year.
We could still be there.
There's no cup finals. There's no finishing third and seconds and all that. It would have been a difficult period. And I think, everyone at Motherwell would probably agree with that and understand that from a financial point of view, that the situation that the club were in at that point. But you've got to say what a job that, everyone at Motherwell have done since to turn it around, but also not just rest on their laurels, but actually produce young players. And the amount of money that's been brought in now from the development of the youth side's just been phenomenal. Like the good old days, you would say, from when the likes of Fatty was at the club and Piero and even, Lasley left, Hammy left, they all went on to have great careers. And that seems to be that cycle again, which has been really benefited the football club. And I think there's still more to come, obviously, with the likes of Davey Turnbull and that as well. It's really exciting to see what's going to happen and the club progressing. And now there's a chance to play in Europe again, which is great.
Unfortunately, we're not going to be in the stands for that, but until we at least make the group stages, hopefully. But, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, I know. It's a shame, isn't it? But, for the club to finish in the position it has, though, it's secured.
Yeah.
After all this crazy COVID as well, it secures them again to go and push and, be able to recruit better than quite a lot of the football clubs. So they're in a good space at the moment, albeit still hard times. But from what it could have been for the football club, I think they've been very astute in terms of how they've done their business in the last couple of years. So they're in a good space right now, which is great to see.